Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Public Nuisance Podcast. Honored to have Stalag 13 here. Legendary band. Probably the reason that the whole Nardcore even exists. But I'd like to introduce Blake Cruz here,
What's up?
Ron Bard. They have a little punk karaoke band up there now, and you were up there, just killed it, man, killed it. So I can't wait to see you guys tonight. I haven't had a chance to see you guys live before, but. Tell us a little bit about. I know you guys have been doing it since the '80s, right? This is when you got started. So tell us a little about your backstory.
Yeah, I guess I'll kick off. Band started roughly in '81, sort of towards the tail end of '81, and it was myself, Carl Winrich, Chuck Stake, or Chuck Collison is his real name, and this guy Kevin Lundberg from Ventura on drums, and that was the original band. We did a demo, played mainly parties, but that kind of imploded after about a year. And yeah, it's kind of a funny story. I was at a party at Jimmy Callahan's house, and I'm pretty serious about the band and pushing it at the time, and Chuck and Carl weren't so much. And we were at this party at Jimmy Callahan's, and they were tripping on acid, and I was all straight edge, and I was trying to talk to him about the band. I was like, "Fuck you, dudes, you're out of the band," and I literally kicked him out. Now this is where Blake can jump in, because I know he's got a different version of how he came to the band. Because my memory was, I talked to Brandon at this party, and then Brandon introduced me to Blake at this party at Jimmy Callahan's, and that's where he joined. But I don't know. I'll hand over to you.
So long ago, trying to think about that. But I do remember those guys running from Ron, blazing on acid, and Ron was so mad, and I just remember saying, "Fuck it, man, I'm firing them." And at that time, Henry Knowles from Aggression, he was dating my sister, so he lived with us, and he was the one that kind of got me playing guitar and teaching me and whatnot. And so I had kind of been ready to go, and I remember Ron saying something about I'm firing them, and I remember saying, "Man, I'm ready to join this band. Let's do this." And I just remember talking to Ron after that, but at some point we wound up in his garage.
Yeah.
And
But I think before that we ended up going on tour with America's Hardcore.
oh, that's right. Yeah, that
So
was
America's Hardcore were going on tour up to San Francisco, and we went in Danny Slam, the singer's car, and because he had his girlfriend with him, and she wouldn't fit in the van or something. So we're on the Bay Bridge, and Danny's car breaks down. So me and Blake are like stuck in San Francisco, and I think that was real formative time for me and him.
Yeah,
because Blake's like, I don't know how you're like 4 years younger than me, I think.
I think, yeah.
Or 3 and
I'm 32 right now.
Yeah,
No.
I'm 36.
No, yeah,
3
years.
Yeah.
I think I was around, just turned 15.
I think, you were 14, 15, and I was about 18. I think. So probably about 3 years older. And so we kind of, we didn't move in the same circle, but I think that trip we really bonded. Because I remember we talked, because all we did was skate, eat at the Hare Krishna place. We were staying at the Vats with DRI at the squats.
Yeah.
And so we were skating with DRI. And we went to see Minor Threat twice on Broadway, and
Tool and Die.
Yeah. And then we saw Verbal Abuse, we saw MDC, and it was just really sick. And all we did was talk about the band, I remember, in songs, and I think that was a real forming. And then as Blake said, we ended up in my garage at my dad's house, and we're jamming out songs. And then from there, it was just me and you, because I think, because Kevin bailed.
Yeah.
And
that's when we got Joe Liebke.
Yeah, Joe Liebke.
And Ricky Bowersock.
Yeah.
That was just when we started to write some music.
Yeah. And then that was when we got interviewed in Flipside.
Right, yeah.
And that was when we started playing a lot. So it was that lineup. Yeah.
It's funny to hear you guys talk about, these bands that you guys go and see, and how does it feel now? You have this younger generation coming up, then they're like, oh, they get to see you guys, you guys are now, like the legends, you know, and it's got to be a cool feeling.
It is, you
Yeah.
know, and that's what it's all about. It's kind of just, you know, from us being in 83, 84, looking up to bands like you were saying, and now watching these bands, you know, come out now and be able to, you know, say, oh, we're playing with Stalag, and before we'd be like, oh, we're playing with, you know,
Yeah.
so and so.
We're playing with Husker Du, or we're playing with Red Hot
just
Chili Peppers.
yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
yeah.
It really is, and there's some great bands coming out of Oxnard, up and coming. So it's just the scene's still going.
I
you
mean,
know?
I'll just jump in for a second on that. That's just such a cogent point because it's so vital. I mean, look, after Stalag 13 broke up in '86, I ended up in Australia. I didn't even know that. I mean, Nardcore was a joke when we were kids. It was like, I mean, my memory of it, Ismael Hernandez said, hey, you know, yeah, if DOA is Hardcore 81, we're Nardcore. And I didn't even know there was like a growing scene in all these bands. You know, I was kind of really oblivious. And it wasn't until I came back in 2002 on tour with Stalag to see when we did the Doctor Strange reissue of In Control, to see all these bands playing, and I was just blown away.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so
we stopped for gas, at a service station, and somebody goes, hey, it's Ron Baer from Stalag 13, and I was like, what the hell, man? Like, you know, it was a cool feeling, and seeing all these bands coming up, you know, seeing bands like Crucial Thought, you know,
Dead Heat,
Torina, man,
I Decline.
those dudes, I Decline, all these bands coming up and going, hey, citing Stalag 13 as an influence. I'm like, that's just humbling, you know, and really, really kind of like, that's just really cool, you know, because like Blake said, you know, it was like Minor Threat, Husker Du, whatever, and then all of a sudden we're that band. You know?
That's well deserved, though. You know, you guys. You know, so, you know, how many records have you guys put out, you know, over the years?
Well, we did In Control, and that was the record that stayed for the 30 plus 40 years we're at right now. And like I said, Ron moved away, and so we got John Creer to fill in and hold it down for a little bit.
John Creer was killing it.
He was, and we did Fill in the Silence record, and we're on a few comps here, you know, out there.
There is a bootleg out there.
Those are the two records. So you have one in '84, and then one we just did we wrote it during the pandemic, you know, and it's just it's crazy how this works, because to be honest, a few years ago, well, 10 years ago, what it was, I know Ron was in San Francisco, and we had a show or something. We were asked if he could play, you know, hey, would you be down to play? And I think he said something like, you know, I'm pretty much done, you know, and respect it and all that. And so we never thought we'd have him back. But, you know, as of just the way the journey goes and how life makes the turns, you know, we got an offer from Trust Records to re-release In Control. And that brought him back into the mix. And it just seemed like from there, things just started taking off. You know, we went to Europe and all that, and now we're here, and
I mean, it was trippy with that, because it was, I mean, the Trust deal. I remember when Blake first contacted me, I thought, oh, this is bullshit. You know, like, you know, seriously, someone wants to, you know. But, you know, it ended up being the real deal, and there was a lot of negotiating and a lot of to and froing, and that we came out in January this year. Yeah, because I had the master tape. Like, I kept everything. I was actually surprised how much I kept. Like, because I was going through, because I had to write a narrative for the record, and I had all my fan mail, everything, you know, fanzines, you know, interviews with, you know, things. Anyway, so I had to bring the master tapes from Australia back and give them to Trust Records. And we were like, hey, we should do a few shows. And we did that big show at Ocean View Pavilion, and where Alex's Bar, and and then that one in El Segundo. So we did those, and we got such a good response that we were like, hell, let's keep it rolling. And then Europe came on, and I came back in July for Nardfest, and in the European tour was just sick. It was crazy.
Yeah, so you got to imagine, you know, you guys are 15. You're bonding on the San Francisco Bridge, and then, you know, next thing you know, your life takes you, you know, playing your music in Europe, and that's got to be. I mean, that's an accomplishment in itself right there. That most bands will never ever get to, and to think that guys just met at a young age, and now you get to share your music all over the world.
That was that's what was funny when we were like back into the garage. That was something that we dreamed about. Like, was the bucket list. We need to get over to Europe and play, And Stalag went in 2017. We went to Europe, but that was with John C. And just something about this one, because now we're back to the starting point with the original, and it's just unbelievable how we're better than ever, to be honest. In my opinion, it's back to.
How was it? How was the crowds in Europe? How was the games? Was it crazy?
Crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like Blake said, I mean, that was a dream and a goal, and it just didn't happen for us. We kind of fell apart before we kind of could get going, and and that's water under the bridge. But it was, I mean, they asked me, like Blake asked me if I wanted to go in 2017, but I was really caught up with my PhD and and everything, and I
Dr. Ron over here.
I just couldn't go then, and but like going this time, it was just awesome. Like the crowd, like I didn't know what to expect. I remember our first show in Bologna. I was sitting in the van, and I could see a little bit of the car park, and there was just a few people milling about, and it was getting closer and closer to 9 o'clock, and I was like, there's nobody here, And then Danny, our bass player, he goes inside for a wander, and he comes out and he goes, dude, it's packed, and it was just sick, man. From that first show on, it was just.
What's pretty for me is we go over there, and we also went to Japan, and you have kids and people that don't even speak the language just singing your shit word for word, and some of these kids weren't even born when and our bass player and our guitar player, they were. What is it? Minus 16 years
16
when the record was.
Control came out.
But it's just so cool to see these kids and even people that like said don't speak the language singing word for word now, and it's pretty cool. And that's why I do this. That's why I kept doing this, is because I'm a fan of the fans. That's what it's about.
I know just locally, the Cruz family, they're legends, in this area, and because I'm close to Zorba, and the Ska Daddies, and they play here a bunch of times, and
I was in the Ska Daddies for that run, the very beginning, when I took a break here. But we've been around. My brother, God, we get to play with him tonight, with Dr. No, and.
And his son's band played here too. Yeah. So, but it's cool, like because we outside we post all the bands that are to play, and it's amazing how many people stop by. And they're like, "Oh, Stalag 13," and they come in like, "What are they? It could be here." And it's like, it's cool to see how powerful the Nardcore really has become, and how much people respect it, and. I'm honored to have you guys here tonight. I can't wait. I got a little glimpse of you up there, doing the karaoke band, but I can't wait to see you guys. But real quick, man. So, what took you to Australia? What was that your home, or just how?
Look, nah, man. I mean, to be quite honest, it was, probably in a lot of ways, it was after Stalag 13. I just kind of wanted to get as far away as I could from it all. It's kind of a little bit bitter. I mean, we don't have to go into all the details, but and. I mean, I know my wife sometimes says, like, oh, you should have stayed and just joined another band or started another band, and eventually maybe you would have, and we probably would have, but it just didn't happen. And I did have the travel bug. Initially, I went to Europe for 2.5 years, and I went backpacking for a while, and then I went to England for a year and worked and saved more money and went backpacking, and then I ended up in Australia. And then in Australia, I ended up getting my residency, and I went to university there, and that was it. And then at university, I met my wife, and I ended up staying there. So
there's a plan for everybody, So, but hey, now it's kind of cool. It's full circle, and here we are getting ready to kill it tonight.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's. I mean, it is, and it's a real honor. It's a privilege. I feel privileged to be able to still be doing this
Yeah.
and to give back, you know, because I mean, like Blake kind of, you know, echoing what Blake said, you know, you really do it for the fans and for the kids, you know, it's like.
And it was cool, like, you know, the best thing that came out of that shitty ass pandemic was, you know, a lot of good music. You know, because people were just locked up and, you know, they didn't have shit to do. So even my own son, you know, they started, you know, their own little band. You know, they were doing all these, cover songs, maybe some of their own, and you know, so it's cool to see, and but you know, that's the whole reason we started playing music here. You know, because you know, I stayed open during the pandemic and all that shit, and you know, it's just to piss off everybody. So we started playing live music. You know, and yeah, man. So. You know, I'm stoked, man, that you guys are here, and I appreciate you guys coming in and doing the podcast with me. I really do.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
No, it's great to be on them. You know?
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
People can find your music, you know, is Spotify. Where can they find your music?
iTunes, Spotify.
Yeah, all those
Pretty
usual
all
spots.
the.
YouTube. There's a lot of cool live videos of us from Europe.
Yeah, when we live stream everything. They got a great media team, and so we live stream. So you guys will be live tonight, and yeah, we always get a lot of feedback from different. You know, it's crazy. People hitting us up from, you know, Texas and, you know, Wisconsin. Just people that, you know, they see these bands that they love and they get to watch them live, and, you know, they chime in and stuff. So it's cool. You know, you never know who you're going to touch. You know what I mean? And with that internet, that's the way it is. And, you know, instant access to people it's huge. And
We're leaving Thursday. I think we have 10 shows in 10 days, so hopefully we'll be coming to a city near you.
Yeah,
come check it out. Come say hello.
yeah, where can they find those dates?
Instagram, which would be Stalag 13 Band. Facebook, pretty much we've posted everything on there for all the dates and stuff, and it's gonna be fun.
And there's new flyers coming up on Instagram, like as the venues are producing it, because we've got our tour flyer that's at Stalag 13 Band on Instagram, but then venues are posting theirs on. Yeah,
so guys, you know, make sure you check them out. You know, check them out. You know, every a couple of days, find out where they're going to be. You know, I'm so you know, honored that they're here to play tonight. I can't wait to see you guys. You know, just get out there and kill it. And yeah, I'm glad you guys are back together. I'm glad you guys are you know, still doing the thing. And you know, you got a lot of people out there that look up to you, and it's well deserved. So.
Well,
it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, man. Hey, thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate you, brother.
You got it, man.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Take care.